I love that. I think that's spectacular. I do want to give us a chance to get to a guided meditation today. Before we do, I want to, take one quick moment. And this is about how we build these kind of things into our own days. It always feels like we're always going a million miles an hour. There is never a shortage in IT of things to do. Someone's machine is always breaking. Someone's machine is always being replaced. Someone new is always starting, or someone new is always leaving. And so we think about this from the perspective of, you know, building the time into your day to keep going with a practice. Is that as simple as putting something on your calendar, or is it as simple as just working to have a spot to breathe in your day?
Yeah, honestly, this, and because I teach meditation retreats that are often, as short as a day long or 2 days, and then as long as a week, even, believe it or not, 6 weeks. Sometimes folks will go on long retreats. Um, Even then, at the end of those retreats, where all you've been doing is getting these meditation instructions, even then, the question is, how do we keep going? With all the stuff that we have and all the things, how do we, and the reason why that question comes up is because this feels good. It feels good to actually feel more settled, to know the nature of the mind and the body. At first, it may not feel good to know that we're feeling stressful, like the mindfulness, we're noticing more stuff. But we have to remember is that the noticing is growing. It's the noticing that starts to feel more and more pleasant because it's the noticing that allows experience to be as it is. Right? That's part of our training. So just, part of it is that I've already given in some ways the tips, which is to really recognize in some ways dropping these moments in during the day is the secret, right, of doing this. And it might be, let's say, every time you turn on the computer, maybe that becomes a habit of, as I turn the computer on, I'm going to take a moment and check in. Tom, you said, as we were just chit-chatting beforehand, before the day starts, you take a mental temperature of yourself. Like, what's really big? What are you worried about? What's on the mind? And what are you excited or nervous about? In some ways, those moments are mindful moments, right? When we really recognize this is what's being known right now. This is a feeling and an energy, a mood, and we're starting to actually give it some space. We don't have to change it. Doesn't have to be any different. And that's the beautiful thing about awareness. Nothing needs to change. On a practical level, for some folks, carving out 5 or 10 minutes to just take care of the quality of our mind, to just sit down or do some kind of simple walking back and forth, oftentimes sitting down or lying down, where what we're doing is attending to the mind. And again, we take so much time, or even if we don't, we know about what it means to take care of the body, to eat well, and there's, do all these efforts to diet and eat the right food, or shower. Like, how many of us go for like 2 or 3 weeks without showering or bathing? And if you do, someone eventually, will say something. And yet the mind determines how we speak to each other, right? It determines what decisions we make. Are we actually following our aspirations, right, in our life? So learning how to take care of the mind is so valuable that once we start to realize the importance of that, we do want to invest time. So maybe carving out a few minutes, right? 5 minutes here, 5 minutes at the end of the night. Oftentimes, for me, it's like before going to bed. If I'm going to do that sort of formal practice, put in those little bits of time. Anytime we pause is wonderful, because anytime we do that, we're putting in a seed for that to arise again. Just like every time we get annoyed, we're putting in the seed of annoyance to arise. Every skillful state of mind, when we remember there's a body breathing, or we remember that we're speaking, harshly with our loved ones, but now we're feeling it and knowing it, that's awareness. We're planting those seeds, and those seeds will come back again and again. That's why really not to underestimate during the day, any moment that we remember is powerful. It's conditioning the mind. So there's no really secret. It's really knowing ourselves. Do we like discipline? Do we like more relaxed? Finding, like the meditation app that you mentioned, 10% Happier, has some great, I mean, I'm on there, but I'm not talking about myself, but there are great teachers and meditations that are on there. Fantastic. And there's some free material on there as well. You can just open it and check it out if this is inspiring to you. Yeah, so I hope that's at least some things. Maybe some folks will have some questions we can also address.
Please subscribe and check out more content from us.